Welcome back again. Like I said, we have such an exciting show for you that the sheriff is already gone. But one thing we failed to talk to her about was the SWAT team. We have a SWAT team as well in Nye County, and we failed to mention that. So yes, I'm definitely going to have her back so we can talk about that. But for this session and the next session, we have Ron Sung. He's a staff attorney with Nevada Legal Services. So Ron, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'm glad to have you with us, and I know our audience is glad to see something about legal services. And I know in another session we're going to talk about taxes as well. We got taxes coming up for those of you who haven't done your taxes and you want to know more. Ron's going to give you some phone numbers as well.
All right.
So tell us about Nevada Legal Services.
Right, so glad to be here. Nevada Legal Services, we are a nonprofit legal services organization. We provide free legal services to the entire state. We have an office in Las Vegas, Reno, Yerington, Elko, and we will soon have one in Pahrump, I think, by the end of the year, hopefully.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Okay. We're primarily funded by the Federal Legal Services Corporation. But that also means that we can't help everybody. We can only help what's known as the low income.
Okay.
Right? And if we can, and just some of the things we do, if we can go to slide 4, we have this huge list. Housing, public benefits, that means anything from like Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, disability, unemployment. So if you're, a really common issue we see are people who are denied unemployment benefits for whatever reason. We can at least help out with that. Sometimes we go to court over that. A lot of times we go to the unemployment benefit hearings for those.
Okay.
Food stamps, TANF. We do consumer law. We do some immigration, specifically just like U visas, like domestic violence visas, and so forth. We do a little bit of family law. We do Indian law. We do IRS tax debt. So if you have tens of thousands of dollars worth of IRS tax debts, you might want to call our office and see what kind of arrangements you can make. Maybe you don't owe the debts. Maybe there's some sort of settlement you can make with the IRS that we can go. We could probably help you out with that. We also do name changes in our office. We do veterans benefits, and recently we started doing what's known as criminal record sealing or other barriers to employment. That is, if you have a criminal record from the past and you want to, and that's causing you trouble getting a job or something, come talk to us. Same thing if you have a criminal record and you were denied your gaming license or some other DMV license, come talk to us and we can probably help you out with that, or at least give you advice. That
sounds great. Before you turn the page, we don't need to put it back on the screen because I just have some questions.
Yeah.
And looking at most of this I can understand, and I think the people would understand. But Indian Law Project, what is that?
Honestly, I can't say too much about that. We have specific attorneys who their sole job is to do Indian law, but that's mostly up in the north, our northern office in Reno that deals with that. So I apologize, I can't talk too much about that.
That's okay. The other question I had is, on June 2nd, we're having something here where we're calling it Veterans Extravaganza, and it's going to be providing things for veterans to talk about their benefits.
Oh.
And is it something that you might be interested in?
Yeah, definitely. I'll talk to my supervisor about that immediately.
So immediately after the show today, we'll talk about that. But I wanted everybody out here to know as well, on June 2nd, it's going to be at the Bob Root Community Center, and we're going to have, it's called Veterans Extravaganza. Assemblyman Oscarson is putting this on. And we want veterans to know all of their benefits, whether it's legal, educational, medical, you name it, the gamut of what veterans have already earned.
Interesting.
And so after you mentioned that veterans benefits.
Our office does the Las Vegas stand down every year. And so it's a huge event at the Cashman Center. So I know I've been to that the past 2 years. In terms of Nye County, we're at the Tonopah. We go to Tonopah, I think, every other month. So we're invited to the courthouse in Tonopah, and we do Ask a Lawyer sessions there if you want to talk to an attorney one-on-one. In Pahrump, we are here every month. So if you want to contact the local Justice Court,
Okay.
And then I think I've been there a few times. We're there every month. Just ask a lawyer session. Come in. We at least get to tell you, at least give you some advice going forward about what you do with your case.
And we have a phone number for you.
Yes.
Okay. And if we can put that up on the screen, so if you want to get in touch with Ron to ask him, because a lot of the information, even though I tell you to have pen and paper ready to write down things, sometimes you're going to miss it. But don't miss the phone number and call Ron and say, look, I saw you on TV in Pahrump, and here's a question I have. So then they can answer the questions for you.
Yeah, perfect, yeah. If we go to slide 5 really quick, just talking about our income eligibility. Unfortunately, our office receives money from the federal government, like I said, and the state government as well. And so we can't help out everybody. The list is up there about the household size and the maximum monthly income. But basically, for an individual, we can only help those who make up to like $2,000 per month. I think that's the easiest way to describe it. And then it goes from there. Okay. Right? We also can't help out with like, criminal issues, or if you're not a legal, resident of the United States, we probably can't help you out either.
Okay.
All right. Some of the biggest things we do are evictions. So we do a lot of housing work, so be that from foreclosure. Most common, though, unfortunately, is landlord-tenant issues.
Okay.
Evictions are a huge concern in Southern Nevada, or all of Nevada, actually. There was a report out just recently, and I think it was the RJ, the Review Journal, but in Las Vegas itself, there were 30,000 eviction cases last year. 10 years ago, it was only like 20,000 eviction cases. So,
now Nevada has some strange laws on that, doesn't it? When I say that, to evict somebody,
right?
If you're the property owner, to evict somebody, it's a lot of things you have to go through.
I would say Nevada has very favorable laws to the landlord. So for a landlord, it's a really quick process. We do what's known as summary eviction. So if you get a 5-day notice, for example, on your door, and a tenant does not answer that in a courthouse, then the court will automatically grant eviction, automatically grant eviction after those 5 business days, or 5 judicial days whenever the court is open. And so, evictions are unfortunately really quick in this state, 5 days, and then after the 5 business days, unfortunately, you can be out. And so if you ever get any sort of eviction notice, you should probably at least go to the court, call our office. You should do something about it other than just sit around.
Don't ignore it.
Yeah, don't ignore it. I think that's the biggest problem we see.
It's like don't ignore IRS. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask this, because I've heard of situations where people have come in as caregivers. They've made that their home address as a caregiver, and then once they're no longer needed, the person wants them to move out, and they can't move out because they said, that's my address, and they can't evict them. So what happens?
I think there are ways around that. I mean, there are ways for the landlord to get the tenant to leave. The tenant has some legal rights to that unit, but it's not a sure thing for both sides. I would say if you are the tenant and you are like the live-in aide or the caregiver, if you have your own room, for example, maybe even pay rent, right? If you pay rent, then you should have at least 30 days before you leave. Okay. But if you're just somebody who didn't pay rent, just offered your services for whatever reason, it could be a situation where you have a lot less legal rights.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot less legal right to stay there, unfortunately. Yeah, is that a huge problem? Or you hear about it sometimes?
I heard about it, but again, that was in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
so, I know it was an elderly person wanted the person out of their home, and they had a lot of difficulty doing it.
I see. Yeah, those are most eviction situations are just really sad. It's usually, evictions, it's mostly due to money, right? If you couldn't pay the rent, it's probably because you couldn't afford the rent. If you can't leave because, you're a caregiver, right? It's because you don't have the means, the money to get a moving truck or whatever to get your stuff out, find a new place and so forth. Yeah. It's often a money issue as opposed to a legal issue too.
Okay.
We can also talk about Social Security. So if you have people who are applying for disability, if they are denied, come talk to us. It's a really intricate process. The Social Security disability appeals process is really tough. It's really technical.
Okay.
Something you should probably not do it yourself. Yeah. Because then sometimes if you ever have to go before an administrative law judge and you go by yourself, it's like a deer in the headlights type situation. They'll ask you. I mean, the administrative law judges, they know that they know you're doing it by yourself, but if you don't know what the real issue is,
Absolutely.
why you were denied in the first place,
Yeah.
and then you go before an administrative law judge, so they're just like, yeah, I'm sorry, you should have brought this, you should have brought that, and you're like, oh, I didn't know, and it's too late. Right. Same with unemployment benefits. So we help out a lot of people with, who are denied unemployment benefits.
Okay.
You get denied unemployment benefits because you were your employer alleged misconduct. That's a really vague term, but a lot of things are considered misconduct. And then, yeah, people just say like, oh, they're lying. And, that's probably not good enough for the most part. You should really prepare your case because it's unemployment benefits. It's, a couple of $100s every month that you're missing out on.
And you can help people with this.
Yes, we help a lot of people out with unemployment benefits. Yeah. All right. Let's see what else. We have also consumer law. So bankruptcies. We help out with bankruptcies or just garnishments in general. So if you are if there's a lot of debt collectors that are calling you on a daily basis, or you just want a fresh start on your credit, something you consider is bankruptcy. But hey, if you want to slowly pay off your debt, or you're just a guy on Social Security, you can do what's known as, and they're trying to garnish your wages, go after your bank account, go after your car, whatever. You can protect yourself by just filing with the court and just say like, certain things in Nevada, certain property in Nevada is exempt from any type of garnishments or writs of collection.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we help out people with those too. It's really common. You maybe not if it's just like if it's like you have one credit card debt, for example, and they're trying to go after your bank account, right? And all you have is Social Security. Well, you should probably file something, and that'll make it go away pretty quickly.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're looking at this. Again, we want to put up Ron's phone number and contact information. So if you miss something that we're trying to cover in the time that we have, we want you to be able to call Ron, ask the questions that you have, and if he can help, if they can help in any way, they will.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted him on the show today.
Yeah, at the minimum, we can tell you, where you should go, or if it's a lost cause, you should just drop it. At least we can just tell you from a legal perspective, with experience, what your rights are and what you should do and who you should call at the very least.
Now we're winding this session down, but Ron's going to be back in our next session to tell us more about taxes and all the other things that they can do. So come back with us.